18, and Edward Bennett, 19, both raised in Mormon homes, drew blood from their own veins and mutilated animals in satanic rituals. But that wasn't enough, so they eventually killed 18-year-old Michelle Moore. Sean Sellers, 17, the youngest death row inmate in Oklahoma, brutally murdered his mother and stepfather because they tried to prevent his satanic rituals.
Imagine showing this to a child. I mean, can you imagine? I was a very impressionable 10-year-old. I loved Halloween. I loved to dress up. Halloween and Christmas were my favorite things in the world. So going to church for the first time and becoming a Christian, and then I started going to the Christian school that they operated. Not very well, man. And I was shown this around Halloween time, and it fucked my whole world. Quite an intro on this. I mean, this is this is some real. They had a budget for these fucking graphics. Their graphics guy was.
Hello. Ooh. You get nothing. You get.
That's so upsetting.
I can't do that. Oh no.
God, it's still going. This is a production. We did not need all this. It's so much fluff too. It's so masturbatory. Like, why did we need all of this? And it's kind of like, this is propaganda and everything, and it's outrageous, very, like, anti-everything, but this opening was, like, kind of jacking off over it, too. Like, it's weirdly obsessed with it.
And I'm Carol Matriciana.
They hate what they perceive as satanic things, but they also are like kind of fixated on them. They can't help but fetishize it.
Witches on broomsticks and little
Witches on broomsticks.
Scurrying
Ooh.
the neighborhood.
Ew.
I hope my audio's okay.
While there are some people who may be concerned about the origins of Halloween,
While there are some people may be concerned with the origins of Halloween,
to millions of youngsters across the nation, it has been adopted as a time to pursue scary fun. It is an opportunity to dress up in foolish or fanciful costumes, to engage in the fantasy of being a witch or a vampire, ghost or devil. Eager trick-or-treaters solicit candy door to door or bob for apples at Halloween parties. Others brave haunted houses and horror movie marathons.
That's so upsetting.
While the more daring visit cemeteries at midnight, play with Ouija boards,
Ooh.
and hold seances in an effort to contact spirits of the dead.
You get
One of the
nothing.
biggest promoters of Halloween is the public school system. School-sponsored Halloween-themed activities often include dances, costume
I'm just having
contests,
fun.
carnivals,
We're just
and
hanging
arts
out,
and
man.
crafts projects. Education officials admit that more effort
You're
is
just
usually
watching
put into
stuff
the
with me. I'm
celebration
just
of
playing with
Halloween
soundboards.
than any other holiday,
I don't know.
including
You gotta
Christmas
chill
and
out,
Easter.
man. You gotta enjoy
Is the
vibe.
stimulation of a
Just
child's
have fun
sense
with
of
it.
fun and
You're
fear
gonna make
all
fun of
there is
Christian
to Halloween?
propaganda with
Or is there
soundboards.
more? For many entrepreneurs, Halloween is
They
big
don't really have
business,
anything better
a
to do.
major promotional event used to bring in billions of dollars worth of revenue.
I can't do that. Oh, no.
In addition to the usual costumes of cartoon characters for children, a growing number of outlets are featuring more macabre and sinister creations for purchase. This one well-known department store chain will sell more than $500 million worth of Halloween paraphernalia this year. And that doesn't include revenue from the sales of trick-or-treat candy.
Disgusting.
Costume shops such as this one are able to stay in business year-round as a result of the tremendous sales and rentals they receive during the Halloween rush. Farmers also view Halloween with an eye toward making big profits. Pumpkins are a
can't do
traditional
that.
Halloween accessory
Please don't
used
make
by
me do that.
households nationwide as jack-o'-lantern decorations.
Yes, always.
This one Southern
Yeah.
California field of only
Yeah.
160 acres
Yes,
will yield
always.
nearly $250,000 to its owner.
Halloween is manipulated by the promoters of horror movies and videos as a major marketing opportunity. While horror films used to be synonymous with B-movies and considered the conventional low-budget industry standby, today they account for nearly 20% of all of the revenue received by feature film producers and distributors. The success of the technical revolution in special effects has attracted serious film directors to produce well-crafted, elaborate horror productions. A recent visit to the Video Software Dealers Association exhibition in Las Vegas showed that the two biggest selling artistic genres were pornography and horror. Hollywood is continuing to capitalize on society's growing craving for the occult and demonic. The irony is that while these producers label such films as fun and make-believe, many of them hire practicing witches or Satanists as technical advisors who ensure the authentic reproductions and performances of rituals, sacrifices, spells, and curses.
People are so hyper during the day, they need to come home and watch something that's totally unreal so they can release themselves from all the pressures. It's just the type of thing that makes you laugh and forget about life.
Over the last 2 decades, most horror films have become far more graphic in their depictions of violence and cruelty. Movies affectionately known as splatter films routinely detail torture and dismembering of bodies, drinking of blood, cannibalism, rape, and a host of other grotesque atrocities.
Well, we think it's pretty fun. A lot of people just like it because it's fun, it's wacko, it's not real, and so it's just the type of thing that people like to watch because you don't have to think reality
On
when you
your
watch it.
knees and lick it.
When it comes to gore or splatter or any other particular genres, the justification lies in our Constitution. I don't feel anybody has the right to tell me what I can or cannot watch.
Most of these films receive R ratings, which mean that children under 17 cannot view the film or rent the video without the accompaniment of an adult. Yet this precaution is seldom enforced. For 15 is the average age of those who see
I'm
these
still
films.
here. I'm just
While
zoning
many
out.
producers claim
Sorry.
that these gruesome spectaculars are merely fun and not dangerous to the psyche of our youth, many of the scenarios from the horror films are duplicated in copycat crimes which make for sensational headlines.
That's just idiotic, if you'll forgive me by saying.
Glenn Hobbs was initiated into a satanic coven as a child by his grandfather and continued participating for many years. I recently asked Glenn about his involvement and the importance of Halloween to the occultist.
Well, my involvement in satanic worship was,
Oh, and
I
this
was
guy,
involved in it as
this
a
guy
child.
is so
Of course,
fucking
I was
full
a
of shit, the
generational
toilet's
Satanist,
jealous.
what they call a generational Satanist.
Unbelievable.
And what that means is that my family was involved in it, and their family before them. Now, my earliest rememberings of Halloween and some of the things that were involved was, it was a very dark time for me as a child. It was something that I didn't enjoy.
Glenn, could you tell us about your involvement in any rituals at Halloween as a child?
There was another little girl that was involved in the occult with me, and her name was Becky. Now, Becky was a different type of child. She was blessed to be a sacrifice.
You really
I
know
was
that?
being blessed to be a high priest, where she was
Impossible.
being blessed
Meaningless.
and born into the coven there
That's
to
just
be a
idiotic, if you'll
sacrifice.
forgive me by saying.
Now, we were in a ritual where we were married together. It was a marriage
The lie
to
detector
the
test
beast.
determined that was a lie.
Me and the little girl were married together, and there was a lot of sexual abuse that took place, and a lot of blood that was spilt over us, joining us together.
When do Halloween rituals actually begin, and what is
I
the
can't do
ultimate
that.
purpose of
Oh,
Halloween?
no.
Well, the ritual that I remember the most clearly began about the end of September.
Oh, no.
Me and the little girl, the one I mentioned named Becky, the abuse was very concentrated at that time.
No,
we were
that
taken
was
into
not. I'm
several
so
rooms
sorry.
where our clothing was removed.
That was an accident.
We spent the next couple of weeks in a kind of a shack where a lot of rituals went on, where a lot of animals were killed. They summoned Lucifer.
I can't do that. Oh,
to come
no.
and possess.
I can't do that.
And so
Please
they
don't make me do that.
us to take over the position of the high priest at a certain point in time. Now, Halloween.
You better get up and go to work, bitch.
They had again put me and the little girl in the back of this van, and we again drove off, which seemed like for a long time. We were drugged once again, and we finally came to this stop. They took the little girl out, and they left me in the van. I could hear a lot of commotion that was going on outside. People that were screaming and yelling and
so upsetting.
This low murmuring and a moaning noise that was going on, like some kind
I
of
can't do
low
that.
chanting noise that was going on. So I knew in my mind there was some type of a ritual going on because I'd heard that many times before. You know, it was real common to see people fall on the ground and convulse and go into convulsions during rituals and stuff with the demonic presence that were around.
I can't do that.
Finally, a woman came to the back of the van and
Hello.
she said, "It's time to go." And she brought me out of the van, and I could see that there was just a lot of people around. Some were dressed in dark brownish kind of robes with hoods over them. They took me up and they led me up to this stone altar. And I remember I saw the little girl, and she was on the altar. Now, at first, you know, I just wondered what was going on because you never knew. I mean, they used the altar for a lot of different things. They could have just been sacrificing an animal over.
On your
could have been a
knees
sexual
and lick it.
abuse from the high priest onto her. You know, it was a hard thing to know for sure. Well, they ushered me up to the altar, and I could see that they had bound her feet. They had her feet spread apart, her legs, and they had bound them to the ends of the altar, and they had taken her arms, which were laying out this way, and roped them to the altar, which had little kind of like hooks. Disgusting! They could bind the ropes around. And she was really white.
Oh, no.
Like, I remember seeing her, and she was just real pale and real white. And I noticed that they had slit the bottoms of her feet and her wrists.
I can't do that.
And they were taking the blood that was running out of those areas and putting them into chalices and passing those cups around to different people who were partaking of her blood. Then the high priest, he took the athami, or the ritual knife, and he picked it up and he put my hand on it, and then he forced it into her chest. So when I think back on Halloween, you know, over that period of time that happened, you know, that was the climax event, Halloween night, where they killed that innocent little girl. And
that was the
this
climax
is something that's
happening
The lie detector test
every
determined
Halloween.
that was a lie.
That's not just an isolated event. I mean, there are children all
The lie
over the
detector
world
test
who are
determined
losing their lives.
that was a lie.
And yet we, as a society, we go out and celebrate it, and we go door to door and we ask for candy. It's a big celebration.
Hasta la vista, Miss
and
Thing.
I think it's quite ironic how one group of people
Hasta la vista, Miss
are
Thing.
thinking it's fun, and another group of people are taking human life, and yet they don't, you know, there seems to be this wall and nobody wants to face the facts of what's really going on.
Today, reports from all over the world show a growing concern over the mushrooming attraction towards the occult.
Oh my goodness.
Heinous crimes connected with the occult, according to police, are reaching epidemic proportions. Halloween is the time when community service organizations warn that children and animals
I kind
are
of feel
most
like I
likely
lost the
to be
plot a little
abducted.
bit tonight, y'all.
To truly understand the significance of Halloween and
Nobody's
its
watching
role in this
anyway.
mayhem, we must go back to its
I'm getting
historic
kinda tired.
roots.
How long has it been? Like 32 minutes. That's probably long enough, right? I can probably end this stream. It's only been like, it's been 30 minutes. I'm not really doing anything with this
What you are
tonight.
looking at are actual rituals and spells being performed by practicing witches and druids throughout America and Europe.
The
These
lie
are not
detector test
actors or
determined
reenactors.
that was a lie.
They are real.
Most of Halloween's customs are the remainders of pagan superstition relating to Samhain, the Druidic New Year. The Druids were the influential priests, magicians, and sorcerers of the nature religions that prevailed in Europe.
I can't do that. Please don't make me do that.
Permeated Celtic culture for about 2,000 years, up until the introduction of Christianity. Today, a revival of the practices of Druidism, along with various forms of witchcraft and nature worship, are sweeping across Europe and
of course,
North
it should
America.
only be 30 minutes. Oh my god.
The Druid orders are full of people from all walks of life, from soap opera stars to
honestly,
doctors and lawyers, dentists
this scared the
and
shit out of
toilet
me
cleaners.
when I was a kid, but as an adult, I'm like, no.
Anybody can be a druid.
I'm standing on Primrose Hill, which is one of the sacred sites in London.
The supposed witches in this movie
and it was here that the Druid Order was inaugurated in its last, most recent cycle in 1717,
so
when
like,
a number of Druids from Wales,
but anyway, if I had to
and
pick
Ireland,
one,
and Brittany,
oh my
and
goodness,
England came
1,000
together,
times I would go with these
it is here
New
that
Age people.
some of the ceremonies are held.
Samhain was seen as a time when the dividing line between the dead and the living was at its thinnest. Consequently, contact with spirit beings was thought to be easiest. Samhain was also one of the major fire festivals of the Celts. At this time, the Druidic priesthood led the people in diabolical worship ceremonies in which they would sacrifice animals and humans in ritual killings.
Human sacrifice has absolutely no place in the modern tradition. Just because we see a pagan revival doesn't mean that we wish to go back to barbarism of any sort. So it's a bit of a red herring. It's not something we like to talk about.
It's completely
reasonable. The name for Druids is believed to come from the Greek word drus, meaning oak. Druids usually select groves of oaks for their ceremonies and use the leaves in their sacred rites.
The work of the Druids consists in reuniting us with the world of nature externally and internally with that stream of ancient wisdom and knowledge.
Sharing the Druidic tradition of nature worship is witchcraft. The title witch is from the Saxon word Wicca, meaning the one who practices sorcery. The Oxford Dictionary states that a Wiccan is one who is twisted, bent, or warped. Despite attempts from modernists to sanitize the original intent of witchcraft, its practice cannot be divorced from demonology.
O guardian of the watchtower of
That's
Eve,
so upsetting.
I, Ishtar, high priestess and witch,
I can't do that. Oh no!
I command thy presence at this, our meeting, to guard over our circle and to witness our rights.
Oh no! I can't do that. Please don't make me do that.
My mother was British, and my grandmother was Welsh. I have been a witch for as long as I can remember. Since I have been practicing the craft,
no, I can't do that.
there has been
Please
a
don't
great
make me do that.
revival.
I believe there's about 1 million people in England alone that practice witchcraft. The pagans are all over the place with their covens. If they're not calling themselves witches alone, they are paganistic in their ways.
There are probably now as many people practicing witchcraft in Britain as there are committed Christians.
I regard myself as a natural witch. I regarded myself as a witch since early childhood. I was brought up in a very isolated part of the country, on the Welsh border, which has a long tradition of magic and Welsh sorcerers. It's almost as if there's a kind of grassroots feeling back towards paganism. We live in a kind of post-Christian era almost, and that people are moving towards a kind of neo-paganism, I suppose.
We learn as practicing witches to tap into forces of nature and to actually, if you like, send out a spell or an incantation or an invocation in a very powerful way.
It's in many ways to bring you back to nature, to bring oneself back to nature, and to learn how we fit in with the natural scheme of the universe and the natural scheme of the earth, and understanding what we need to do to heal the planet.
Because worship of nature is so central to their theology, large numbers of practicing druids and witches are dedicated to today's ecology movement.
We have a number of initiatives which include planting groves of sacred trees and a campaign for individual ecological responsibility, which is concerned with showing how each of us can become ecologically responsible.
I think the time is coming now where we have to take the responsibility by the throat and actually get out there and say, there are answers here. I'm not prepared as a pagan, as a priest, and as a practicing witch to sit back and see my planet, my mother, raped any longer.
Halloween is often confused as a Christian holiday because of its association with Christian All Saints' Day or the Eve of St. Hallows, All Souls' Day. In fact, the original Christian dedication used to be celebrated in May and was intended to honor those Christians who died for their faith. But by the 9th century, the influential Roman Catholic Church changed the holiday to November, and the Protestant Church soon followed. Today, a thin Christian veil attempts to disguise an ancient pagan festival of the dead, which has become not only a secular observance, but notorious as the most favoured holy day of witches, sorcerers, and devil worshippers.
I can't really say when I became interested in Wicca. It's always been part of me, part of my roots. I love Halloween. I think I'm a very autumn person. We dress up the house with cobwebs and so on. We plant a circle. And we have a smoky cauldron and we all scry, which means do clairvoyance into the smoke which comes out of the cauldron. And we open the gates of the underworld. And if any spirits want to come forward and speak, we listen to them.
My first initiation, when I became first degree, was on Halloween, and I felt very, very much in tune with the god.
The ancient Druids worshipped Baal, one of the most powerful of all the demon kings. In the list of Enochian demons, Baal is said to be a king which is of the power of the East. Eastern religions emphasize that spiritual power comes from meditation. The common denominator between Druids, witches, and Satanists is the practice of meditation for the purpose of making contact with the spirits of the dead or disembodied souls.
You do a lot of meditation
people describe them in different way. I am aware of a hierarchy of spiritual advisors who live on another plane of consciousness that you can approach, that will acknowledge you and advise you and assist you.
We have what we call contacts. There are other names for them. They are beings, that's the easy thing to call them, which can be people who have lived
they're
on the earth, or they
editorializing
can
that's
be
putting like
God
demon
forms.
faces
They
in front of it and shit. Like, I don't know.
Almost as
Kinda
real as
freaking
the
me out,
people
man.
standing next to you. And whoever else you call doesn't actually materialize. You can't see them in the physical sense, but mentally you know that they are there. You can see them in your mind's eye.
They represent really forces in the universe. Forces that are like gravity or wind. But they're forces that have to do with our internal makeup and make our minds work in the way that they work.
Margaret Adler, practicing witch and author of Drawing Down the Moon, warns that the trance state, with its roots in ancient shamanism and paganism, is not to be entered into lightly or when alone. For the spirit to be contacted actually enters the witch's body, using it to deliver a verbal message.
There's a possibility, if you don't cast a circle, the forces that could come into the room could take over in a form of possession. We had one example here, where one young woman, a nurse, was possessed by, I don't know what it was, but a horrible voice came through her, and she passed out.
While occult procedures in their rituals may vary in
Ooh,
intensity, the fact is
you
that
get
witches, as
nothing.
well as Satanists, commemorate Halloween night with the same fervent dedication to invoke spirits for personal power.
Queen of heaven, queen of hell, horned hunter of the night, lend your power unto our spell, and work our will by magic right.
Glenn, you've now been a Christian for some time. What is your reaction when you see Halloween celebrated by people?
Whenever Halloween time starts coming around, at the 1st of October, you go into the stores, you see the costumes, you see the mother with her little girl putting the witch's hat on her, and the little boy getting excited about getting the devil mask. You see the candy, you see the Halloween pumpkins, you see people decorating their houses with skeletons and all these symbols of
You
death.
get nothing.
You know, it only serves to bring back horrifying memories to me. Memories
Hello.
of death, memories
I got some
of
horrifying
children being
memories
so
of this
abused,
videotape.
so ripped of everything, their character, all in the name of Satan.
Yep, it's
If a
all in the name of
person could
Satan,
really
that's
stop
right.
The next time they go into that store and realize that there are children who are going to lose their life because people are taking this a step further. There are people out there who don't just celebrate Halloween with trick-or-treat candy. This is a religious holiday to them. This is something that is holy and sacred, and they are taking innocent human life. I can't say, go ahead and have Halloween fun. It doesn't matter if you're participating in Halloween, even if you're not a Satanist, if it's just for fun. No, because these Satanists are using this as a smokescreen.
Glenn, you said that Halloween is a religion of Satan. What do you think when you see churches and Christians celebrating Halloween?
It makes me sick that the Church of Jesus Christ would take on this horrible demonic thing that is happening in our world. Christians should be the ones who are standing up against this. Christians should be the ones who are saying these terrible things are happening and we want to stand against this. Churches should not be having these Halloween parties at all. They should be coming together as brothers and sisters in Christ, binding together and coming against these dark forces, praying for these children that God will spare their lives, that God will intervene and save these children.
Whether the public chooses to believe in the frightening growth of Satanism or not, the fact is that a highly organized network of Satanists are operating in America and Europe today. They seem to be respectable members of society and are integrated into all professions and walks of life. We go now to a special report from noted author Hal Lindsey, who is on location at a site known to be used for satanic rituals.
Okay. I want to try to pitch my voice like up and down.
We came out to a place in the hills east of Los Angeles,
Testing.
to a location that has been identified in the past with ritual worship, and we believe Satanism. Frequently, this site has been discovered with candles that had been used for ritual. And you can look at some of the artifacts we found here today. Upside-down crosses that were put around.
Upside-down crosses.
Are scattered around here. And various satanic symbols, but also something disturbing in the light of what we'll be talking about in the future. And that is the diet of a very, very small baby.
That was a lie.
You know, I believe that this country is experiencing a pagan invasion, including a new upstanding practice of witchcraft, the New Age, and as we will talk about today, outright Satanism.
That was a lie.
Around the middle of the 1960s, there was a dramatic upsurge in satanic worship, beginning with and his writing of the Satanic Bible in the Church of Satan in San Francisco.
You better get up and go to work, bitch.
I watched as this accelerated, not just in the West Coast, but around the country. When Charles Manson and his gang in 1969 committed the horrible, brutal crime at Sharon Tate's home, this was done in connection with all of the paraphernalia of Satan worship. This started a whole avalanche of satanic crimes. We've seen serial murders. We have watched as one after another has been brought to light. Many murders where satanic symbols have been discovered. The pentagram, 666, and all sorts of things of this nature were done. But more distressing, we have found all over the country reports that there are animals that have been mutilated in a very skillful and specific style that shows that they were ritually offered as sacrifices. There are now confirmed cases where there have been girls that have been used as breeders, and their infant children have been sacrificed to Satan. Halloween seems to be the high holy day of the Satanist and the occultist. Halloween is the time when all across the country, in
That's so upsetting.
Places, in the dark, there will be little babies sacrificed to Satan. You don't believe it? I know it's hard to believe myself. But there has been such an acceleration of worship of Satan that we believe that these sorts of things are happening, and we have evidence that they are.
That was a lie.
Satanism exists in this country as it exists elsewhere. It is appallingly evil. It is about murder. It is about child abuse. It's about sexual abuse. It is no joke and must be taken seriously and must be dealt with.
If they can ritually abuse children, if they can in any way sexually abuse children, anything to destroy a child's innocence or their trust or their wonder at the world, they will do it.
It's the most tragic stories that I've ever heard, where a child has told people what's been happening, and the adults have said, "Don't be stupid. That doesn't happen in this country. You're making up stories. You're lying."
The problem we're coming across is that the higher officials in these public organizations do not want to acknowledge that this is occurring. We need to lift that veil of misunderstanding and saying, hey, this is a crime to be dealt with. It's the crime of the 90s. It's not going away.
Satanists want to recruit. We know that it's been going on for many years. This is not new. But their arrogance and their outwardness about the way they recruit is becoming unbelievable.
Sometimes they'll simply suck them in through the local high schools, sex and drug parties.
We have an epidemic of young people
participating in some strata of Satanism. Now, that doesn't mean that they're all out sacrificing human beings, but they may very well be doing the rituals that involve mutilation of animals. One fire department individual told me all of the woods around our area have these types of rituals going on.
They believe that if you kill people, that exerts a tremendous amount of energy that the people there can sort of vampirize on, and so animals would be slain.
Christ,
and this is
Christine.
especially true on the high holidays like
You
Beltane
can't show
and
this to
Samhain,
kids.
Halloween,
Okay.
and
Well,
May
I'm gonna go.
Eve.
Fuck this.
Something
Boo.
about sacrifice. If you
Go
do it
away.
once, you want to do it.
Enough.
Disgusting!
Okay. Well, I guess that's enough for tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and end my stream. But, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Hanging out with me and doing weird stuff. Take care of yourselves out there. And, you know, eat shit and die. Love ya.